Everyone, welcome to our conversation today, Ask Me Anything E-commerce. My name is Rebecca Luber, and I'm the Director of Career and Business Engagements with the University of Minnesota Alumni Association. Welcome to our conversation. Before we get started, we'd like to thank our members and donors of the Alumni Association for powering our alumni webinar series. To learn more, you may visit umnalumni.org/membership. If you're interested in today's topic, you may also be interested in our upcoming topic, Ask Me Anything on Wholesaling, coming up this Thursday, also with Quyen and Lisa as our conversation hosts. To learn more about that, you may visit umnalumni.org/virtual. If you're an entrepreneur and you're interested in finding short-term talent, you may be interested in projects from the Maroon and Gold Network, which is a new initiative that we launched this year. To learn more about how you can find short-term talent for projects such as creating a website or other short-term opportunities, please visit umnalumni.org/projects. All right, today we are currently using Zoom meeting for our conversation. So to make the most of your experience today, please select at the very top of your screen, view and speaker. I will also do my best to highlight and showcase the speaker at any given time throughout today's presentation or conversation rather. And then if you have questions, you may drop them in the chat at any time, and we'll try to look at those questions and bring those to our host's attention to the best that we can. And we know that folks actually submitted lots of questions on the registration form, so we'd also like to address some of those today as well. And you also have the opportunity to use the raise your hand feature. So if you're brave, you may raise your hand and ask your questions on camera and turn on your mic as well. All right. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to our conversation hosts today, Quyen and Lisa, and we'll have Quyen begin with introductions.
Morning, everyone. My name is Witthuhn, and a little bit of background about me. I used to own a children's boutique in the Twin Cities called Pacifier. We had 4 locations and an e-com site. It was started in 2004 and we sold it in 2018. After that, I pivoted to becoming a Shopify consultant, kind of self-taught and able to do some basic coding and such. So that was pretty fun. I did that for a while, and then I got connected with the Minnesota Alumni Market, and I started working here in December of 2019. I am their merchandise and marketing consultant and also website tweaker. And that's a little bit about me. Fun fact, my first website I created for Pacifier was based on Yahoo. So that's how long ago that was. I'm really grateful Shopify came along. And I'll turn it over to Lisa.
Good morning, everyone. I am Lisa Huber, Vice President of Marketing and Business Development with the University of Minnesota Alumni Association. And I manage a variety of things that drive revenue to the association so we can invest and further support the mission of the association, including sponsorships, advertising, and overseeing our intellectual property asset management and the Minnesota Alumni Market, which is our e-commerce website that we have here at the Alumni Association. And I have been here since June of 2015. I'm going to go to the next slide. So before we jump in to some questions, I just want to give a little bit of background about our e-commerce store. That is the Minnesota Alumni Market. It's the only known store in the world that exclusively sells products from alumni-owned businesses. And we purchase and own and manage our assets and inventory through the store. That's a common question we get. People are wondering if we are just pushing people to other websites and other storefronts. And the answer is no, it is its own entity. We just purchase exclusively from alumni entrepreneurs and sell them in one place. And it is very unique in itself and one that has not been able to be replicated yet that we have known about. And we started in 2017 with about 14 businesses. The idea kind of spawned from discovering that we had this deep alumni entrepreneur base and this desire for alumni to support one another. It has now grown to support over 80 alumni entrepreneurs, with alumni and friends shopping from all over the globe. And we truly have a global shopping base that comes and supports those various businesses. And it has definitely been an evolutionary process from the beginning. And I think that's one of the things we get asked a lot is like, how do we get to where we were? And we started, and that's really just the basic answer. We started and we expanded from there. In 2020, like many online retailers, when everything moved to the virtual space, we were fortunate enough to already have an established e-commerce platform at that time. And the market exploded with traffic and success and attention. And we were actually ranked in the top 1% of over 1 million brands on Shopify for growth in 2020. Excuse me. So recently, we were really excited to announce that the market is now expanded beyond retail, and we feature all alumni business and service types. So that was something that we just rolled out this month. And we are now a blend between selling products and also showcasing and becoming a database of sorts so that people can come and find alumni businesses of a wide variety to support and shop through. And of course, if you are an alumni-owned business, we wouldn't miss a moment to share more with you about this opportunity. It is a benefit of membership to be a part of the market. And if you want to find out how you can get involved, the website is listed on screen. It's at minnesotalumnimarket.com/get-listed. And we're happy to answer other questions if there's anything specific related to the market as we go on. But my perspective in this conversation will be just kind of the growth of it and how we see opportunities and work on the overall strategy of the store. And Wing is in charge day to day of the market. And we're really excited to have her on board, and definitely her knowledge of the Shopify platform is incredibly valuable to the success and, to the Alumni Association as we look to deepen our support to alumni entrepreneurs and grow that.
Great, thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to Wing to talk a little bit more about the Entrepreneurship Club.
We just wanted to let you know November is Entrepreneurship Month, and the UMAA has a page dedicated to all the resources that any entrepreneur might need, whether you're thinking of starting a business or growing your business. Be sure to check out this page. It lists resources from all over the U and the UMAA on how we can support and grow or start your business. Okay, yeah, just to kind of give a starting point about why we decided to do this Ask Me Anything. There's some really interesting numbers about what has happened with online sales since COVID-19. And as you can expect, it has really grown. These are the updated numbers for 2020. But e-commerce sales have increased 44% from 2019 to 2020. I have a feeling that has not slowed down, and it will continue to grow. So if you don't currently have an online store and you're selling something, it's really important to go where your customers are, which these days are online, and that is going to continue to grow. Even my elderly in-laws are getting online, which to me is like an indication it is changing for everybody. Next slide. I also just wanted to touch base on the main players out there on e-commerce platforms. Shopify, BigCommerce, and Magento are the three main big ones that are more robust. So if you are thinking of seriously starting one and you want to scale up, definitely look at the top three. If you're starting to just dabble in online sales and are curious about it, the bottom three, WordPress, Squarespace, and Wix, are also easy to use, but they are not very scalable. Just something to consider. Because my background is in Shopify, that's where my expertise is. I'll try to answer my questions in generally as possible, but if you have Shopify specific questions, that's where I'll be most valuable to you today. And then just one last thing about that list. WordPress is like the least user-friendly. I would really discourage anyone from trying to use WordPress. Okay, so we'll get started and launch into the main part of this, which is to answer your questions that you have about e-commerce and specifically Shopify, if you have any. There were questions that were pre-submitted, but I really want to make sure we answer questions from people who are here today. So I'm just going to start out with one that I noticed one person who is attending did submit, and that question was, I heard there's a regular Shopify network meeting of businesses at the national or global level who sell through Shopify. Is that correct? And how do you join those network calls? You know, I am not aware of that. And I'm sure there is something like that out there. I would just reach out to Shopify on chat. Their chat is the best way to get back to them. So if there's something official that Shopify does, they would be able to know that. I do know that there are a lot of very helpful groups on Facebook that are about Shopify. And I have been known to go on there many times to drop random questions when I was starting out my Shopify consultant career. And there are people there who are very helpful. And there are a lot of people out there who really just want to spam you. So just be aware of that. One is Shopify for Beginners. That's a really good one if you have just random questions. But honestly, Shopify's chat feature is the best if you have questions. But Shopify for Beginners, there's Shopify Experts. So just go into Facebook if you're on there. And that's a really great way to get just free advice and free answers.
Excellent. So, so we turn over to the audience for your questions, or for folks who are in the room today with us. You can use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. You should see a more function and a place to raise your hands, or you can drop your questions in the chat, and you can go from there. If you're not sure how to use either one of those, you can just turn your mic on and ask us a question.
I can jump into another interesting question while folks are thinking about their questions or need time to enter them. Let's see here. I would like to hear more about your e-commerce marketing plan. So I really like this question because I have done, during my Shopify consulting days, I've created many Shopify websites for folks, mostly small businesses. And the one important thing to remember when you're starting out is that the website is awesome. Shopify is awesome. A lot of those platforms make it really easy for you to put up a very professional looking website. Shopify, for instance, has templates, many templates that are free and some that are paid. They're very affordable, and it's an easy way for you to create a really good looking website. The hard part, though, is getting it out there. How are you going to market it? How are you going to get it in front of your eyes, in front of your buyers? So it's really important to enter any kind of new e-commerce store with some realistic expectations. Unless you already have a built-in customer base. For example, the Minnesota Alumni Market is very lucky. We have a list of over 500K alumni that we can regularly reach out to. Most businesses won't have that built-in following. So you have to plan for dollars for ads or email marketing, building up your social following on Instagram or Facebook. That's a whole nother topic, is marketing. So, but I really wanted to touch base on that. That just because you have a website out there doesn't mean you'll automatically get eyes and buyers. Like most people, like making the website is the easy part. It's marketing it that is the most challenging. That's why if you're a smaller maker, I really encourage people to first maybe go on Etsy, something like Etsy, where there's built-in shoppers already. They go there to look for things. If your product is the type that would fit on Etsy, like find a platform that already has browsers and shoppers and go there first if you want to test out your concept.
Looks like there's a question here about cost of Shopify for new small businesses. Can you talk more about the costs?
Yes, yep. Shopify has a basic, advanced, and then a plus plan. Their basic plan is $29 a month, and there is no commitment. You can exit it at any time. After 2 months, you can put it on pause while you keep building your site, and that's $9 a month. That's a very unknown thing that they offer. You have to search for that. So that's the basic cost. And then if you have sales, then they take a cut of your sales through credit card transaction fees. And it's important to note you would have these credit card transaction fees with any other platform out there. Shopify's is 2.9% of the sale plus a 30-cent transaction fee. And then it goes up from there if you get bigger.
Okay. The next question I see here is, what has been your greatest e-commerce challenge since the start of the Minnesota Alumni Market?
The e-commerce challenge. For me, I mean, I will let Lisa chime on here too, but for me, it was kind of a surprise. I kind of thought it would be really simple. You guys, the UMA has a list of 500,000 alumni, right? That marketing piece is easy, taken care of. But actually, we have a small number of committed followers, and they subscribe to our email list and they buy every new product that comes out. But that's a very unusual set of people, right? Those folks who are very connected and want to support our alumni entrepreneurs. It's reaching out and getting new shoppers, bring them onto the market. And that has been partly accomplished by bringing on new product, constantly bringing in new makers, new alumni makers. And then the other challenge has been keeping those people engaged and interested, keep them coming back. So now that they've done it, they've bought something on the market, how do we get them to keep coming back for when they need gifts or for special holidays? That's been my main challenge. I don't know about you, Lisa.
Yeah, I smile because I have an answer. I get this question all the time. And as we noted, we have a large alumni base and for everything we do at the Alumni Association, but it's just that it's large, it's diverse, varying in age, interest, location. So you think about it from, we might be pushing winter hats when people are in Florida are sweating with products. And so we do exactly what Wing said. We have a super great group of people that are aware of what the market is and the mission, and we still have hundreds of thousands of prospect and alumni and friends out there who have never shopped at the market. And so our challenge is really, bringing in new people to the fold while continuing to engage our most dedicated shopping base. And so that is a big challenge. And I would say that's also why Shopify has great advantage from technology and automation tools that can allow us to go on one course sometimes with the people that are kind of engaging with the website and send email communication, but we're also still working on awareness of the Minnesota alumni market and explaining, what it is and why it's unique. And once people kind of hear the story and absorb it, and read that one email that explains it or meets us at a pop-up, they generally come and shop. And so that's our biggest challenge, is finding a way to sell products and showcase entrepreneurs and drive support to them, but constantly showcasing what we are and bringing new people in, because many times e-commerce, there's like more of a defined demographic and audience base that they're working with. And for us, we have a wide reaching. We have people who want to spend $15 on a necklace and people who will spend $300. And so we constantly are talking about that and how to market and segment and, what gaps we got to close in it. So yeah, I could go on forever about the marketing of the market and how we're exploring it. But the one phrase I always say is, we don't really have a brand problem. We still have an awareness problem that we're constantly working hard to, showcase. I mean, even parents of students is a market for us, and they have a completely different interest in shopping as well.
Great. We have another question here about taxes. So selling to people in different states, etc., how does Shopify handle this?
So Shopify does simplify collecting taxes. You can set up where you're located. So usually if you have a physical nexus in a state, then you must collect and remit taxes for that state. So in Minnesota, it's pretty simple. You set it up. Shopify, if the buyer is located in Minnesota, they will collect taxes on those items that you've marked as taxable. You do have to go in and manually check which products are taxable or not. And they collect it for you, but you are in charge of remitting sales taxes to Minnesota or to the state you live in. So depending on your amount of sales, you might have to remit quarterly or monthly. And then Shopify does have a nifty kind of, they keep track of how many sales you make and what dollar amount you make in different states. And as you approach the economic nexus, which is, so we don't have a location in Nebraska, but if we sell, I think it's over 200K or over 200 sales in a year, then we have to start collecting sales taxes. So it will warn you when you do need to do that. And then you can choose to either do that manually, or Shopify partners with many, many, many different companies that have many, many different apps that you can buy to help you do that. So if you are at the point, if your business is at the point where you're collecting sales taxes from different states, you've grown that much, there are really good apps out there like Sales Tax Jar or Avalara that will help you collect and remit those sales taxes. But yeah, that's a really important question.
It looks like there's a question here. What has been the biggest surprise since the start of the market? And I would say that probably a good question for Lisa to help us address.
Yeah, I probably also answered that in the challenges question a little bit there, but you know, I would say what has been just like exciting to see has just been the global support of entrepreneurs via our friends and alumni of the university, and it really is alumni and friends. And you know, again, we get asked a question of, do you have to be a grad to shop? And the answer is absolutely not. Even it's for anyone. Our mission here is just to uplift and support entrepreneurs. And we've seen support across the board, all of the entrepreneurs, all the businesses, based on the diversity of our audience at shops. Everyone gets business, and the wide variety. So I think that it just seems like there's been this need and this hunger for this sort of platform from our audience. And that has been a very welcome reaction to the market. We launched it kind of on an idea and you know, just kind of trusting our instincts on this one, and then backed in a business plan and a bigger strategy as we watched the store take off. So it's just been great. It's been great to see the wide range of shopping interests for the product lineups that we have and to the diversity of alumni entrepreneurs.
Great, thank you. Looks like we have a question here from Kayla. I'm going to unmute her, and then if she wishes to turn on her camera, she may do so. So let me get Kayla started. Let's see. I've asked her to unmute. Kayla, are you able to see? Oh, there you go.
Good morning. I'm not going to turn on my camera. You probably don't want to see me this morning.
Oh, your camera's on. Let me stop your video.
Oh, it is. Oh, no, it's okay then. It's fine. I'm walking around the house. I've got kids that have to go to school. And so 8 o'clock is not the best. But anyway, thank you for taking my question and for doing this. My question has to do with fulfilling the order. Any advice on that? I'm in food, so shipping food, they're mostly shelf stable, but they tend to be some jars and different materials. I don't know if anybody on this call or the panelists have any advice on filling orders. I mean, especially if you're growing and big, right? And then you're a small business of a team of up to 3 people. Advice on how to fill those orders.
Kayla, I just have to say I follow you on LinkedIn, and I really admire what you're doing with seasoned foods and being a retail outlet for local food vendors. So we do have some shelf stable items we ship from the market. There's spices. I think Tiarina Global Spices, she actually might be at your retail outlet too, Kayla. So glass, there's glass, right? You have to worry about breakage. When we shipped glass items at our business, you just have to make sure there's always at least an inch of like bubble wrap or air surrounding the item, the glass, and then the outer cardboard box. So you just really need to make sure you have the packing supplies. Packing peanuts that are compostable, I mean, whatever aligns with your business values. So we had to train our staff to be sure to pack things properly. I'm not sure, am I answering your question, or do you mean like how do you staff the shipping? Or
no, that's helpful. That's helpful. Talk about the carriers that you use. I mean, are you using the large ones like FedEx and US Postal Service, or do you tend to work with more smaller boutique startup delivery
Yeah.
systems as well.
Yeah,
How have you found that to work?
We were always, in terms of what shipping service we used, we were always very aware of keeping shipping costs down. So anything under £1, we would ship first class USPS. And then 1 to 2 pounds priority mail was best. And then anything over 2 pounds or that was large in size, UPS was always the best for us. I mean, FedEx was very competitive too, but our UPS driver was more friendly. So there are all kinds of factors that go into it. But the main carriers work well. One thing that is, if you have local deliveries, maybe even within the 3-state, like Minnesota and the surrounding states, we found that speedy delivery was surprisingly very good and very affordable for even large size packages. And we didn't discover them till much later on, and I wish I had known about them. But they're quick, they're reliable, and they're honestly sometimes more affordable than UPS, especially for the large packages.
Thank you. It's so helpful. That's our biggest challenge is, I mean, apart from creating the market and the traffic to the site, it's okay, when the orders are coming, how do you fill them? How do you do them efficiently, especially if it's growing? It's staff, but it's also getting it on time to the consumer. And that's, I do the e-commerce, all of that, as well as working with the different businesses that we work with. And that's the biggest challenge for them. They're afraid to start the e-commerce platform or process because they don't want to have to worry about shipping and they don't know where to go and all of that. So that's an impediment to small and also to scale up, right? So if anybody else have figured that part out, that'd be another session or several sessions that I'll definitely join. But thank you. You've been really helpful.
Quyen, doesn't the Shopify system too like auto calculate the shipping based on the weight that we put in, and we have a relationship, and so you get discounts?
Yes. Yep. Shopify gives very deep, I would say, significant discounts on shipping if you use Shopify to fulfill, like create the shipping label. And yes, all you have to do is enter in the weight of the product, and depending on the cart, it will calculate the actual shipping fees. And then you can also add on in Shopify, you can add on, okay, that's the basic fees that covers the actual shipping rates, but let's add on $1 per package, or, 10% to cover packaging costs, like your boxes and tape and all that. Kayla, for shipping, what we did as a small business was, when you're a small business, you can't have people like dedicated to all the different things because there's just usually not enough work or you don't have enough money. But we would train our people who worked the floor on shipping. And it wasn't until much later on that we had someone dedicated to just shipping. But if you can train your
to do that,
people,
we're starting. That's smart. We're starting to designate one person who does that all the time, so they can learn all the ins and outs, some of the challenges of both the packaging itself, so things don't break and don't spill out. But it's also who's the best carrier or delivery partner to do this. So yes, and we've got a lot to learn. Every one of them have challenges, especially now in this environment. But we were thinking of going with the more family-owned carrier and see how that works. That's one of my part of the question. The nuance in the question is it better to go with the big guys or the smaller, like us? We're small.
Boy, I'm not even aware of small carriers. Did you mean ones that just deliver locally?
No, they do. They're small, medium. That doesn't mean that they don't ship across the U.S. It just means that they're more family-owned. They're smaller operations. They're much more intimate. I've had several contacts and they're not Minnesota based, but they're not the FedEx, they're not the UPSs. Those are all privately owned too. But this is privately owned. It's more like a business, smaller business. They're just up and coming. They have the processes and they're looking for clients like we all are.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Would you mind dropping the names?
Yeah, I'm happy to share 4 of those. Yeah.
Because I would say check them out. I mean, why not? And if their rates are competitive.
Yeah, that's part of our 2022 plan, was to explore that a little bit earlier in the year when our when our orders are much lower than during this time of year. Retail is just huge, and hopefully you have that problem too. It's a good problem to have around this time with the seasons, the holidays, but yeah, we didn't want to have to try something new. But next year, that's what we're going to do. I'm happy to forward that over. I have Rebecca's email, so I'm happy to share with her and she can forward it to you guys.
Yes, please do send that information. Excellent. Looks like there's a
Thank
good
you for the
question.
conversation. Yeah, thank you for the conversation.
Thank you, Kayla, for asking your question. And yeah, thank you. So looks like there's a question here from like the pre-submitted questions that I think would be interesting. Someone is in their second act career and they would like to start a small online business related to textiles, some created by artisans around the world and some created by themselves. What advice do you have and what are the first steps that that person should take?
Great question. Yep. So that's exciting, right? Brand new business. What should you do? And I think it's very wise to start out online these days. A lot less overhead. So I would, if I were you, I would work on the visual content for your website, because websites need good photos, good graphics to sell. So start thinking about your logo, number one, and then start looking for your suppliers. And I'm not sure if you're thinking about buying wholesale and then retailing or doing a dropship model where you partner with vendors and as orders come in, the vendors ship the items out to the customer directly, or maybe a mix of both. But yeah, you might start going to trade shows, go browse online to find suppliers, unless you already have a network. One wholesale supplier that is really great that just started in the last 3 years or so is Fair, F-A-I-R-E. I'll just put it in the chat, fair.com. And if you're a retailer, you can apply and create an account. And Fair has really exploded in the last year. It's basically an online site for wholesale orders. And so you don't actually need to go to New York City or LA to find the latest and greatest brands out there. So that's where you can find some suppliers. And I would keep your day job until things ramp up. But that's the nice thing about online sales is you can work on it at your own pace and see how it goes. That's kind of the main basics. Is there a follow-up question on that? I think the person who wrote that question is on here. Feel free to drop any follow-up questions in the chat.
It looks like Kayla mentioned that she also buys from Fair products as well.
Oh, cool.
I can't find local comparable products, so it's awesome. Thanks for the tip. So one person asked here, I am hoping to learn more about site design. What are some things we can do to upgrade our site's appearance? Tips to provide a better shopper experience and learn more about what I don't know about Shopify sites, both on the front and on the back end.
Great question. So site design, that's what's great about platforms like Shopify or Magento, even Wix and Squarespace. They have templates, all kinds of templates you can use because not all of us, me included, have a design background. I know it looks good, but there's no way I could put it together. So I definitely encourage you to look at a platform that has themes that will help you look professional and make it really easy to swap in and out things and change up your homepage. It's really what you see is what you get. You don't need any coding experience to use these platforms. Let's see. What was the last part of that question here? Hoping to learn more tips to provide a better, okay, what we can do to upgrade our site's appearance. If you don't have, if you're not on a platform that lets you change things up easily, then I guess I would look at sites that you do admire. I do that a lot. I look at sites that I do admire and what works well as a shopper, what works well, and imitate that. And that could be mainly the menu. It's, the landing page is the most important. People either decide to stay or leave within the first several seconds of landing on the page. So you need to decide, you need to make sure your page loading time is pretty quick, and that your main menu is easy to navigate, whether that's drop down or slide out menus. Just make sure you have people, I think, because of the prevalence of platforms like Shopify, people are used to being able to find what they need more easily. And if your site doesn't have that, you would definitely need to reconsider going onto a platform that allows you to have those things easily.
This looks like you unmuted yourself. Did you want to add something in there?
Well, I always, because Wing is like our brilliant Shopify developer brain behind stuff, I always like to offer the perspective of someone who's not skilled in that background as it relates to Shopify and some of these other platforms. And I'm a massive advocate for Shopify specifically, and for the ones that Wing listed from a marketing perspective and user engagement standpoint. They spend so much money upgrading and making the enhancements, as Wing said, based on how we're all being trained to shop. And so I always fear, as like someone in marketing, that if you're going off and using boutique things or something that's not as user friendly, that you're going to become outdated fast and become reliant on, as what Wing said, like having to learn coding and making the enhancements to keep up. And so these platforms, if you're not on one of the big ones, I just feel they get outdated quickly and the experience dwindles, and that's the advantage with them. And Wing, we'll talk about this later, but she did what she likes to do with people when they ask these questions, and gives them free access to mess around on a Shopify site. And in like a couple hours, I built my own store front and figured out how to use it. And it's that intuitive. And the other thing I would say is, like, many people, as you build things, and Wing gets this a lot from me, where I'll be like, what if we did this? Could you bundle these products? How do we offer this promotion? Can we change this layout based on what she said? We look at other sites and we see what users are experiencing. And the great thing is that that's in these larger companies' capabilities, and they're incredibly user friendly. So I say those people like thinking about starting websites or you wanting to update, I think just stating that is probably stating that you need something that has more power behind it and advancements. And the final thing I'll say is, like, as you grow and as you need help and you need someone to jump in, these are much easier to scale and have people learn than if you build something incredibly custom. You've basically created something that's only manageable by you. Or if you're in a position in which someone might take on the management of it later on, it's just a lot easier to transition when you essentially have a company and a whole group of, because isn't Shopify Wing, like, it's coders and developers are constantly like adding, it's like a group think sort of methodology in the creation of it. It's essentially like you have thousands of people on your staff helping build your website day to day. So I'm just a really big advocate for that. As someone who's on a really small team in our organization, I'm incredibly confident any of the 22 members of our staff could jump in and figure out how to navigate specifically our Shopify website.
Yeah. The other advantage of going with a larger platform like Magento or Shopify is that because they have so much, like a huge staff, their documentation is incredible. I work with so many clients who will drop me a question about Shopify. And if I don't know it, I literally just have to go into their help manual and type, how do you, and it pops up. And, my clients just don't have time to do that. But if you're the type of like to do it yourself and you have the time, that support is there. It's pretty incredible. And because they're one of the largest platforms out there, they do have the most apps out there. So if you want to add on things like free review apps or payment plans, they will they work with all of those things to help boost your business and market your business. Email marketing platforms, we could go on and on about different marketing platforms and email marketing specifically, and what those things can do when coupled with a platform like Shopify. It's no longer the case that you need like a marketing agency behind you to do a lot of these things. Some of them are automatic too. So if you're a small business, some of these things are like set up and it will do it for you.
Sounds amazing. There's a question here that I received. Is pretty packaging and thank you type of notes important for e-commerce? I think about all the nice packaging and thank you notes I get from private or small businesses on Etsy and that sort of thing. Can you talk more about that?
I think it's incredibly important. And that's actually one of the things I'd like to work more with the market right now. But when we had our business, we would write a handwritten thank you note for everyone, even if it was just a written thank you on the packing slip. But I can't tell you how much feedback we got from customers who were just so amazed that you're not just a faceless corporation, and that just makes them feel good. And they know that they connected with a real local or real small business owner. I think it's really important. People now are moving towards, I've noticed, like compostable packaging or recyclable packaging, but definitely do what works for your brand. But anything you can do to make it personal is really important. It helps you stand out.
Excellent. So you have another question here, the pre-submitted questions. What is the easiest and most affordable way to get started? How do you get started? What's the best way? And then I have another question after that from folks.
Sure. Well, with Shopify, and I'm sure with all the other platforms, they all offer a 2-week trial where you can go on and play around with it, but then it locks you down and you have to start paying the monthly fee in order to keep building your business. So that's why I'm really excited as part of this, because I still have my Shopify expert credentials. I'm able to open up a Shopify trial plan for anybody who wants it, but there's no 2-week limit on it. You can take your time. It's as free as long as you want. Only when you want to go live will Shopify make you start paying that $29 a month fee. So that is really the most affordable way. Can't beat free. Then you can take your time and play around with it and see if it works for you.
And what you also say too, it's like the other part of that question is business dependent on what you're doing. If you're someone who's making something yourself, then those are your goods and you have to look up pricing and how you scale. But if you have more of a brand concept or design and you're looking to put it on products and ship, there's a lot of great print on demand partners out there, basically give you no inventory overhead risk. So the answer, I guess, can go different ways based on like what your business is.
That's a really good point. Yep, that print on demand is a really good option to start your business without any inventory. They will print and ship as orders come in. Another option is there is an app. One is called ShipTurtle, I think, and another called WebCool. But if you're interested in any of this, message me or anything after this. But it will let you convert your Shopify into an Etsy-like platform. So you can partner with different makers and they upload their products and they take care of the shipping. And you're just kind of the front face of it. So that's another low cost, no cost way to get started.
Excellent. There's a question here. Is Instagram a solid platform to sell through? I've just started using Instagram myself lately, so I'm curious to know more about this question as well.
I think it's solid. Instagram is owned by Facebook, and I think you can just now start an Instagram shop and just sell through it and not have a website. Is that correct? But yeah, it's solid. And if you do happen to have a website based on Shopify or other platform, you can sync it with Instagram and Facebook. They call it different sales channels. So you've got your website through Shopify, you've got your Facebook shop, you've got your Instagram shop, you have your Pinterest shop. There's all these different sales channels, Google Shops that you can sync. So once you create it on Shopify, it populates onto those other platforms and people can tap through on whatever sales channel they're on and buy from there. So I would say definitely you can start out on Instagram, but if you start out on a platform like Shopify, it lets you easily populate to the other sales channels more quickly with less work from you.
That's amazing. To create something in one space and then it populates in all these other different spaces. That's just sounds very efficient. So I have another question here that kind of builds off another question we talked about earlier. Where and how do you find vendors?
Yep. So the low cost way is fair.com, that FAIRE.com. I wish that had been around when we first started our store. But apart from that, if they're not unfair, if you just start shopping online, looking for products that interest you, a lot of them scroll down to the footer. If they wholesale, they'll have wholesale in their footer, and then you can contact them just to ask for wholesale information. Otherwise, I'm not sure. They are coming back. I'm still in contact with a lot of the retailers that I used to have in my network, and trade shows are back, and there's nothing beats seeing an item in person and talking to the company in person. So depending on your industry, there are trade shows for food, for baby stuff, for gift shows, but the main ones are in Atlanta and New York City, Dallas, and LA. And again, I'm happy to drop links to those if you email me, if you're interested in learning more about those different trade shows around the country. They happen like 3 to 4 times a year.
Yeah, Wing, if you send all those sites to me, I'm happy to get that out to everyone who's registered for today's conversation.
Don't forget, we have the wholesaling event in 2 days, right? 2 days also, in which we'll talk more about the wholesaling side of things.
Yeah,
That's
if you're
right.
interested in wholesaling yourself, yeah.
That's right. On Thursday at noon, we'll have a conversation on Ask Me Anything with me and Lisa as well on wholesaling. So definitely check that out as well.
Yeah. As far as it goes to the market, how we find vendors, well, we're restricted to the fact that we're looking for alumni entrepreneurs. So we actually use social media a lot and our channels and our internal connections and our networks to put the call out a lot. And we have people apply like anywhere else, and we evaluate just like any other retail outlet, the cost, the probability of sales, interest, the ability for us to carry it as well. So we're a little unique in that sense, in which we are looking for alumni-owned businesses to sell, but we do a lot of that as well, like just referrals and sourcing, and Googling on our end.
Oh, whoops. Sorry, I just sent someone direct messaged me about the link to start, the Shopify Unlimited trial. And I have a slide at the end that lists what I need. It's basically, you need to just email me. Rebecca, do you want to put that up yet?
Yeah, I can do that. I can share it.
And if you don't get all this information on the screen, it's fine too. You can just email me. But I basically need like your company name, your business address, your business phone, your grad year in college if you're a graduate, and then your preferred placeholder domain. So whatever it is, and then .myshopify.com. And then I'll create that account for you and get your unlimited free trial started.
Great. I'll be sure to share this out with everyone as well. So no worries if we don't capture this information all right now. Any last words of wisdom or advice for anyone exploring e-commerce? I know we only have a few minutes left. So yeah, feel free to share out anything you would like to share with our folks who are here today.
Well, I'll say a couple things, and then when you can wrap it up. If you are an alumni-owned business and you are thinking about starting, we actually do not require you to have your own website. So I should start with that. I was just thinking, so if you have a business and you have something and you're looking to kind of put it out there and see if someone will carry it, that's what the market is here for too. We've launched a few businesses first in the market, and as they saw the interest and success, they kind of took it from there as well. So I just put a plug out there to please, if you're an alumni entrepreneur, reach out to us and fill out the application to see if the market is a good fit for you and your business to sell. But otherwise, just from someone from a marketing side, I just want to reiterate that the website part is the easy part, and like having the idea and knowing that people are moving online. So just make sure that you're really thinking through your marketing strategy and creating a consistent base when developing communication streams and plans. Just think about consistency and something that you can live up to and deliver on. Infrequent emailing or going dark or not updating and having new products in the pipeline, that will hinder the business's success. And so I just say give as much weight to that as the e-commerce platform and the website build that you create as you move forward.
I would say if you have an idea, I would say go for it. You never know. So you don't want to have that regret. And the barriers are so low these days, whether it's even just putting it on Etsy. or if you're a graduate here, putting it on the market and just seeing if it works. You don't have to do a full-fledged website. You can work your way towards that. So I think that's all I have.
Thank you so much, Lisa and Wing, for helping us with today's conversation, leading our conversation today, and answering many of the questions that folks submitted and have asked about e-commerce and Shopify. I thought y'all did a wonderful job, and we'll be sharing the recording of today's conversation with everyone who's registered, as well as all the links and information that we shared today. So be on the lookout for that. And we'll also be sharing out a survey to gather your feedback about your experience today and any ideas for future topics that you'd like for us to host. So thank you so much for spending your morning with us, and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.